Welcome to the Daily Dispatch. First, we'll take you to Europe, where tensions are running high in Kosovo. Next, we'll tell you about a statement by the Saudi foreign minister regarding the nuclear agreement with Iran and what it really means. And lastly, we'll tell you about the breakthrough achievement in fusion reaction, which could potentially usher in zero-carbon power era. We're here to give you the news and to help you infer the world around you. I'm Tayyaba Nisar Khan, and here is your Daily Dispatch. First up, we'll take you to the Balkans, where the political temperature is rising. Now, tensions have soared in the recent days in North Kosovo as the Serb protesters blocked roads, unknown attackers exchanged gunfire with the police officials, and a war of words has been intensifying between the Serbian president, Aleksandar Vučić, and the Kosovo Prime Minister, Albin Kurti. Now, North Kosovo is a Serb-majority region in the Kosovo state. And although Kosovo declared its independence from Serbia in 2008, Belgrade does not recognize it and has encouraged the Serb population in North Kosovo to defy its rule. The current animosity triggered when a former Serb police officer was arrested. And North Kosovo was about to go to the municipal election on December 18 this year, which was delayed to calm the situation. Serbian president has requested NATO-led peacekeeping mission in Kosovo, which has more than 3,000 troops on ground, to allow the Serbian forces to be deployed in North Kosovo to protect the Serb minorities there. Now, the Kosovo Prime Minister, Albin Kurti, has responded by saying that he wanted peace and progress rather than conflict and that he shall respond to aggression with all his powers, adding that the Republic of Kosovo will defend itself forcefully and decisively. Both Kosovo and Serbia were part of the former Yugoslavia, which was formed after the World War II, a socialist state and a federation of 6 republics. It brought together Serbs, Croats, Bosnian Muslims, Albanians, Slovenes, and the others under a communist regime. Tensions and animosities soon erupted between these groups after the demise of Yugoslavia's president, Marshal Tito, in 1980, leading first to calls for more autonomy by different nationalist and ethnic groups, and then declaration of independence, ultimately leading to a civil war during the 1990s, in which the Serb-dominated army carried out mass killings, acts of ethnic cleansing, and forced displacements. President of Serbia, Slobodan Milosevic, was tried in the International Criminal Tribunal for Yugoslavia in 1999 in connection to the war crimes. He was the first sitting head of the state to be charged with the war crimes. The civil war led to the Balkanization of former Yugoslavia, and Slovenia, Macedonia, Serbia, and Croatia declared themselves as independent states. In 1999, Kosovo's ethnic Albanians declared their independence and fought Serbia in a brutal war to gain their independence, which also drew NATO military intervention. The Balkan Wars were considered the first large-scale violent conflicts in Europe in post-World War II era. Next on the dispatch, we'll tell you about the recent statement made by Saudi Arabia's foreign minister, Prince Faisal bin Farhan Al Saud, who said that all bets will be off if Iran gets an operational nuclear weapon. He added that the Gulf countries would respond strongly and take measures to increase their security if Iran is able to build a nuclear weapon. Indirect talks in recent months between Tehran and Washington have been unable to revive the Iran nuclear deal, also known as the Joint Comprehensive Plan of Action. It was signed in 2015 between Iran and the P5+1 states. The accord essentially called Iran to stop its nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. Former US President Donald Trump unilaterally withdrew from the agreement in 2018 and imposed more sanctions, accusing Iran of modernizing its ballistic missile program and supporting militant proxies in the Middle East. In response, Iran increased its uranium enrichment, and it said that ballistic missiles were never part of the nuclear agreement, and accused the US of failing to fulfill its part of the agreement by removing the sanctions on Iran. The indirect talks have stalled since September, with the world's attention on the Russia-Ukraine war and the current protests in Iran. The prospects of nuclear talks restarting anytime soon seem to be slim. Both sides have accused each other of undermining peace and stability in the region. The Gulf states have accused Iran of supporting militant Houthis in Yemen and militias in Iraq and Lebanon, while Iran has accused the Gulf states of fomenting a civil war in Syria by supporting Islamist militant groups and trying to undermine with Israel a nuclear deal between Iran and the P5+1. Iran has also accused Israel for carrying out assassination of its nuclear scientists. Saudi Arabia and the allies in the Gulf state raised apprehensions in the past regarding the US policy of entering into a nuclear deal with Iran, which was one of the reasons which led to the souring of their relations. Since then, Saudi Arabia has looked to diversify its economic and political ties, as demonstrated by Chinese President Xi Jinping's visit to Saudi Arabia. Lastly, let's talk about a major breakthrough that could potentially usher in a zero-carbon power in the near future, if its results are confirmed. Scientists in the US have claimed they have made a major breakthrough by achieving the net energy gain from a fusion reaction. Net energy gain means more energy is produced from the reaction than it consumes. The nuclear fusion is a scientific process, first pioneered by former Soviet scientists, in which the nuclei of the atoms are fused together by exposing them to extreme temperatures. In the process, vast amounts of energy is released. Fusion reactions emit no carbon and produce no long-lived radioactive waste, and a small cup of hydrogen fuel could theoretically power a house for hundreds of years. For the first time, the US government's National Ignition Facility in California has successfully conducted an experiment in which the net energy gain was produced. This significant breakthrough comes at a time when the world faces high energy prices, and the pressure increases to invest more in renewable energy and drive away from the fossil fuels. Although many scientists believe it will be decades before fusion stations are established, the importance of this successful experiment is huge. Also on the dispatch, we give you brief highlights from the global news. First, we'll give you some updates on the ongoing war in Ukraine. A Ukrainian attack in the Russian-occupied Melitopol city was carried out. Melitopol is a strategically located city in the southeast of the country, near the Black Sea, which has been occupied since March 2022. In another update from Ukraine, another strategic city, Odessa, was attacked by the Russian kamikaze drones, leaving 1.5 million without power. Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky has accused Iran of selling these drones to Russia, while Iran vehemently denies these allegations. Odessa's energy authority said that the repairs could take as long as 3 months, leaving people without energy in the cold winter months. Second, Israeli army killed a 16-year-old Palestinian girl in the Northwest Bank, Jenin. The official Palestinian news agency stated that Jana Zakaran was found dead on her rooftop after she was hit by a gunshot on the head during the Israeli forces' raid of Jenin. The Israeli military responded that they were aware of the death of Jana and were carrying out investigations. Israel has been conducting regular raids in the West Bank, and what they say is to arrest suspects. However, many protesting youth have been killed during these raids as well. Approximately 150 Palestinians have been killed in the West Bank and East Jerusalem in the clashes between the Israeli Defense Forces and the Palestinian civilians this year alone, making it the deadliest since 2006. Third, we'll take you to some out-of-this-world news. NASA's Orion spacecraft has returned to the Earth after a historic mission to the Moon. The craft splashed in Baja California that concluded a test flight, clearing the way for astronauts on the next lunar mission. The Navy ship quickly recovered the spacecraft and the 3 dummies in it, which were equipped with vibration sensors and radiation monitors, to check if the mission is safe for the astronauts. Orion was the first capsule to visit the Moon since astronauts landed there 50 years ago in Apollo 17. It was the first flight of NASA's new Artemis program that aims to send astronauts to the Moon. Orion came back intact after 25 days and came back to the Earth with a new advanced heat shield. Inspections on Orion will further determine if NASA will send its first lunar crew in early 2023. We have a lot of space for the space-related news today. Japan's space startup, iSpace, has launched a historic first commercial moon lander that aims to land the Atlas crater on the Moon in April. The private lander, named HAKUTO-R mission, is aboard a SpaceX rocket and successfully took off from Cape Canaveral in Florida on Sunday. Now, the craft plans to add a small NASA satellite into the lunar orbit in search of water deposits before touching down on the Atlas crater, which is located in the northeastern section of the Moon's near surface. If the mission is successful, this will be the first time Japan or a private company will land on the Moon, apart from the US, Russia, and China. Mission success would also strengthen the US-Japan cooperation at a time when China is achieving success in the space exploration. That's all, folks. We'll be back tomorrow with more bite-sized news that keeps you up to date with what's going on in the country, the the region, and the globe. I'm Tayyaba Nasar Khan, and this was your Daily Dispatch.